Hey guys, how we doing? This is a slightly delayed video, but I'll say it now anyway, even though we're already halfway through the month. Happy New Year. I've already saw most of you, which is cool. Some of you I actually haven't even seen yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing you guys back training. So I just wanted to start off with a little bit of an introduction video to kind of get things rolling within the GCP coaching community group. So I guess the intention of creating the group was for a few reasons. It was for, firstly, to check in on you guys weekly, see how everyone's doing, to provide a weekly Q&A, which you guys will contribute suggestions for questions that you want answered and things you want covered, because the chances are if one person's asked a question, 5 of you may have the same question but you just haven't asked it yet, or you may be interested in knowing the answer. So yeah, cool. So that's the number one intention. First and foremost is for me to share some education and knowledge and to make sure that everyone's doing okay. Second purpose of the group, something that Mal is trialing over in her strength curve coaching group, which seems to be, it's kind of getting there, it's going now, but she's doing a bit of a kind of like weekly check-in, and so encouraging her ladies to provide essentially a weekly check-in in a standard format. So my question to you was this, is that obviously at the moment I do all of my stuff on Google Drive. If I were to be 100% blunt with you all, very few of you are actually really consistently keeping on top of the Google Drive and the weekly check-ins and stuff like that. Some of you I haven't went through the new processes that I set up in the last kind of couple of months, especially those of you that I see kind of more than once a week, 2 or 3 times a week. But I just think for adherence and also to make sure that there's a really consistent dialogue, because that is easy just to kind of go from session to session, week to week, and kind of just talk about things but not get things down on paper, make solid action plans and chase those action plans, so that we can actually see some movement, whether it be to make nutritional changes, or you've hit all your training sessions, or any lifestyle changes like increasing your step count or getting to bed earlier, whatever it is we've decided or agreed on. Yeah, so I think it'd be great to get an idea from you guys, and getting back to the actual question, the most long-winded question in the world. Would you prefer to have it set up in a very standard format the way Mal has, where it's a very clearly laid out, this is how you write out your weekly check-in. It kind of goes along the line of, this is the stuff that went well last week, this is the challenges I faced, here are my goals for next week, and here's the actions I'm going to take to reach those goals next week. If you prefer something like quite simple like that, something that you can share with the group and everyone gets to see, a couple of advantages to that: of course it's a little bit easier than going into the Google Drive and filling out all the sheets, because most of you guys are a little bit quicker access to social media. And then the other side of things is that it's just a lot less to actually do and fill out, so it's just a nice easy, you go in, you do it, it keeps you accountable because everyone else in the group can see your intentions that you've set for the week ahead. So I'd love to get your feedback back in the comments below on that, if you would like to have a little bit more of a simple weekly check-in and accountability, especially for some of you guys that have maybe been with me a long time and going over a year, maybe even 2, that you're not following a specific nutritional plan, or you haven't got a very hardcore goal at the moment, you're kind of just going through a bit of maintenance at this point in time. It's also a good opportunity for you guys just to kind of make sure that you're staying consistent and staying on that maintenance, or just making little small improvements in other places. So it may be that you're on a maintenance level nutritionally, but you still have training goals and little things that you kind of want to go after, or little lifestyle things that you want to improve. So even if you're not going through a specific building muscle and strength phase or losing fat phase, the weekly check-ins can still be hugely beneficial for you. Okay, so that's point number 2. Point number 3, important stuff. So coffee. Number 3, I guess, is just, I'm going to give a little bit of a kind of small 2-3 minute, your very first kind of educational piece. So of course one of the things that tends to happen is that we go into the the new year, and I'll say straight up, I've never been a big fan of New Year's resolutions. I think they're bullshit. You don't really need, we all know you don't need a particular day or time of the year or occasion to make a goal. You know, it could be December freaking 25th, it could be Christmas Day, and you could start then. Like, you know, I mean, that's an extreme example. Or it could be, you know, bloody the 22nd of March. It can be any random date. You don't need a specific date or occasion to set goals and resolutions. So we just want to make sure that, okay, with that said, the calendar year is always a good time for people to kind of reflect and take stock of things that happened in 2017 and reflect on X, Y, and Z. So with that in mind, I think it's very important when you're looking across the following year, like 2018, what are your goals, you know, both in terms of in the gym, outside of the gym, with your career and life, and have you taken a minute or taken time to essentially map out those goals for 2018? That's something that I'm still only halfway through. I've still not really mapped out absolutely everything so far, but I want to really try personally to set a really clear path and intention of these are the things I want to do, this is what I want to do them by, and this is how I'm going to achieve it. And then at least that way, they putting that intention out there and putting some timelines on it will ideally kind of make you take the actions that push you towards achieving those a bit quicker. How does that relate to your training and your coaching? Well, Mal and I have done many posts on social media about this before and in the past, and we are very big on you don't need to necessarily know exactly what you're going to be doing for your training during those phases, but having an idea of your year, how it's looking. So for example, if you know that you've got a busy spell between March and June for work, just an example, so or maybe like the second quarter of the year, the second quarter and the fourth quarters of the year are going to be manic, then is it wise to plan, say, a really hardcore fat loss phase around those times when you have to really make sure you don't miss a training session, that you're really on top of your food, that you need to keep your stress levels to an absolute minimum? No, probably not a very good idea, is it? At least if you're not on your head saying, yeah, I can make it happen, you're kidding yourself, so no. So then in which case, if you know that you've got 6 months of the year that aren't so hectic and crazy, whether it be with work commitments, family commitments, etc., those are the times that you want to plan in specific goals. And so it's then taking stock of all that and looking at the calendar saying, okay, between, say, January and March, my main goal is to drop some body fat. So then everything that you plan around your training and nutrition, your lifestyle, has to be set you up for success for that. And same with building muscle. Now, what I will say is this though, is that building muscle, and I'm just about to get into this in a second when we talk a bit about realistic rates of muscle gain and fat loss, gaining muscle takes an exponentially longer period of time than losing body fat. Losing body fat is a process that can happen pretty quickly and pretty efficiently if you are like we know, covering your bases, like you're in a caloric deficit, and you're getting your sleep and recovery, and you're maintaining muscle mass. If we want to get a good strong or a good lean physique and not just wasting away muscle and fat, we're making sure that we're in a calorie deficit and maintaining muscle tissue, eating enough protein, etc. We know that. So if you have got a goal within 2018 of getting stronger or building muscle, you need to probably give that as, like, that's going to take up at least 6 months out of your 12 months of the year. And generally speaking, if you had to look at your training over, say, like a 5-year period, if we had to graph that, your fat loss phases are going to make up a very small percentage of that, very small. Some of it's going to be, say, muscle gain, strength, or other goals, performance goals, and then in the middle, what should probably make up at least the majority of the time, or half the time, you're going to have maintenance. We always say, Mal has been saying this a lot in more recent times as well, people don't really fail on training plans and nutrition plans, people fail on maintenance. They kind of want to go from fat loss to muscle gain, or fat loss to muscle gain, or just constant fat loss. But the body doesn't really work like that. The body is almost fighting to get back to homeostasis, so we need to plan in for maintenance phases. And the way it can kind of work is this: if you're doing very short term, especially if you've been training for a long time and you're already have a pretty decent body composition, you can do a bit more of a kind of short term cut, short term gain, short term cut, short term gain. But if you're going to do longer term fat loss phases or muscle gain phases, the longer those phases are, the more important it is to have a maintenance phase to bridge the next between whatever that phase was and the following phase. So I would just urge all of you, if you haven't really thought about it already, think about how is your year lined up in terms of travels, in terms of work, in terms of and then of course there's all the unexpected stresses that we can never control for, but you can't control for it, so just let that shit go anyway. So I would just really think about that, what is realistic in terms of goals at different times of the year. Okay, so moving into the final bit, just to make it a bit of a short one for today. I say short and it's 10.5 minutes already. What are realistic rates of muscle gain and fat loss? Now, I'll actually do a small separate video on this with the exact numbers, but just understand that if we want to lose body fat, that can be done within an 8 to 12 week period fairly comfortably, as long as we're pretty efficient and we're planned and we're organised with how we're doing everything. If you're looking at a muscle gain phase, you're probably going to be looking at giving that a good 3 to 6 months. So that just gives you a bit of a perspective on kind of time frame differences for building muscle and losing body fat. So in terms of, if we're looking at, and many of the questions will be, so what should my nutrition intake based on my goal? Well, obviously all of you have your own individual, for those of you that are following calories and macros, you do have your own individualized plans, and for those of you that are not, we're just following, we're kind of just going to be following, I guess you would say, your kind of habit-based stuff and just your normal weekly check-ins with maybe like 3 to 5 things, mini goals, just to hit those rather than dialing in and tracking your specific numbers. But if you are dialing in and tracking your specific numbers, some things that are just good to keep in mind, and I've maybe not had the chance or not really ever explained it in this sort of way to you all. So say for example, we've figured out what your maintenance level of intake is. Say you are having a 2,000 calorie maintenance intake. In order for you to gain muscle, you're going to have to eat more than that. And if you want to lose body fat, you're going to have less than that. Now, depending on who you are and what phase you're at, I maybe would suggest that we want to build that ceiling up a little bit higher before we drop you into a kind of deficit for a certain period of time. And that will depend very much on how long we are planning the fat loss phase. So if I wanted to plan a much longer fat loss phase of say 12 weeks or even 16 weeks, I would want to take a bit more time before that to build you up to the highest possible calorie intake that you can manage without gaining body fat or gaining weight. And once I've found that, then from there we can start trickling down. But if you're kind of someone who's already pretty lean, pretty muscular, etc., and you're already kind of got a good maintenance intake, then yeah, you can definitely just start working your way down into a caloric deficit. So the next question I guess that I get a lot is, okay, what is a good number, or how much of an increase or decrease should we be making around maintenance to either get fat loss or muscle gain? There's definitely a lot of practitioners out there that tend to try and get a bit micro with it, and they kind of do a lot of 50 gram increase or 50 calorie increase here, like over the course of every couple of days. To be honest, I just think, based on some of the more respected guys in the field, like the likes of your Dr. Mike Israetels and Mark McDonald that we're studying under, it's, by the time you account for variance within someone's daily intake, you're looking at least 100 calories. So making 100 calorie jumps or drops is not really going to do anything significant within physiological changes. So I quite like Dr. Mike Israetel's approach with it, in the sense that, say you're at that 2,000 calorie intake at the moment and we want you to build muscle, our first jump is going to be by 200 to 250. So you're going to jump up to a good 2,250 calories. On the opposing side, if you're looking to drop body fat, we would drop you down to 1,750, and we would take a week or two, keep an eye on things, make sure that you're actually able to hit that consistently. And then if we were to look to make, say, an increase or a drop again, if things are not shifting or moving where we expect them to, then the drop in the increase would be by another 250, because at least then you provide enough of a difference for that actually to be a significant change. So just to get an idea, like as we're approaching into this new year now, and I'm going to be working with many of you guys on calorie and a macro based approach, when we are looking to, depending on whatever phase we're going through, it's just to give you an idea that the reason that your jumps might be by as much as a couple hundred or even up to 300 per time, it's for a very specific reason, that we are not going to see much of a physiological change with regards to muscle gain or fat loss unless we move it enough, like 100 calories or so. It's just not really going to do it. So yeah, so that's it for today. Just wanted to give you guys an idea, or at least kind of lay a bit of an intention moving into 2018. So kind of, I guess, in review, and I'm terrible at backtracking, so let's see if I can remember here. So number one, take the time to set your goals. Figure out which parts of the year are going to allow you to be most adherent to a specific, more advanced or harder to reach goal, like fat loss or muscle gain, rather than the post. And figure out your times of the year where it might be a good idea to be on maintenance. And then point number two, let me know again if you want to, for those of you that want to keep with the Google Drive and doing the kind of comments that I reply to every week, etc., usually on a Sunday or Monday, or if you'd prefer to do more of a kind of general check-in within the group on a weekly basis to kind of keep you accountable, or you could do both. I mean, if you do both, you're a rock star in my eyes, so that's cool. And then last but not least, yeah, just for those that are working with you on calories and macros, we're going to establish intakes, and depending if you're going to be in a deficit or a surplus, the increases are going to be by kind of at least 200, 250 calories at a pop. In terms of looking at the specific rates of fat loss and muscle gain, because I can never remember them because it's like 5 different levels for each of those, and I can never remember the exact decimals and numbers. What I will do for you is that in the comments, I will post what the realistic rates of muscle gain and fat loss are. If you would like, what I will also do is I could even provide a couple of case study examples of how that would work in practice, and then maybe that can allow you to, if you wanted to, or if you wanted me to help you, I could also help you actually project what is a realistic rate for you as an individual to gain muscle or to lose body fat. If that's something you would like me to do for you or to do a video on, again, that's meant to be pointing down to the comments. Put it in the comments below. Cool, I'll wrap up there before I wrap it on. If you haven't already, I am really making a big effort this year with sharing a lot of really valuable content on social media, especially on Instagram. So get over to my Instagram at CoachRossGCP. Lots of cool videos. I've even got the lovely subtitles at the bottom, so you don't even need to turn the sound on. Mobility, hypertrophy tips, lifting technique, all that wonderful stuff. So go and get involved in that. Alright guys, speak soon.